the technology itself, but whoever supplies that technology for purposes of the next general elections, then what have you achieved? That was here. It has not been done, and they were too afraid to address it there. Nobody talked about it, opening of the servers. Did you hear anything about that? Confidence in the IBC. They bragged that IBC has been reconstituted. But ask yourself the question, has the new IBC inspired confidence in the people of Kenya? When there are questions on how the selection process was done, when there's ultimate suspicion of close personal and other connections between those who are putting into IBC and those who are holding high offices in government and influential positions even in ODM, there are issues that must be addressed. So we wish IBC well, and we are going to support IBC, but we cannot bury our heads in the sand that there are no credibility questions. So we need to discuss these things. The cost of living crisis. They talked a lot about cost of living crisis. But I want to ask you and ask Kenyans, do you feel better off today than you were 3 years ago? No. That is a question they ought to have answered there. Does your shilling buy you more today or less than it did 3 years ago? Those are the questions that people and Mwananchi want to know. We don't want to be told the inflation has dropped from here to here. When the inflation was up here, the cost of goods went up to that point. They have not come down. The incomes have not grown. So don't tell us about inflation, exchange rate, and all those things. The fundamental question, are Kenyans better off today than they were 3 years ago? And the answer to that is no. Compensation for victims of police brutality during demonstrations. It's not been done. We are told there will be 2 billion in the supplementary budget. It will be brought to the House. We will pass it. Who knows how they arrived at the 2 billion? Who knows the number of the victims? Who decided that a broken leg is worth this? Who decided that when you are raped, this is a compensation you should get? Who debated those issues? We don't know. The Victims' Compensation Fund has not been activated, we know that. What about justice? What about accountability? Yeah? Where is that question? Nobody talked about it, because to them, you beat somebody, you maim them, you rape them, you dismember them, then you give them cash. And then you tell them. And then they made a very curious statement that we need a law to protect victims of demonstrations. Where on earth? The Constitution already guarantees it. We don't need another law. That was euphemism for bringing a law to regulate demonstrations. Yeah? You heard that. So when you look at the report, those are the questions you should ask yourself. Corruption. This government is mute on corruption. They don't talk about it. I challenge you to tell me the last time you had a senior government official talking about corruption. Tell me when. Oxfam's report, in terms of success rate, EACC has the lowest ever since it was constituted in the late 90s. 9% on corruption. They cannot talk about corruption. And I'll give you some basic examples. What just happened recently, which you saw. They list sugar mills. Did they say so? And they told you it will bring efficiency. Did you ever hear of a valuation of the sugarcane that was in the nucleus estate? No. There was no valuation. It is like somebody giving you a supermarket to run full of stock in that supermarket and just telling you, I'll pay you rent for the floor space. Not the stock in the shelves. I hope you're getting it. So they took the nucleus estate of public sugar mills, they are turning it into sugar, selling and getting money. That is open theft. And whoever is doing that, in another 19 months, tutakutana on that issue, because that is theft. It is like walking into a government office and walking out with the chairs. That's what it is. So there are many, many issues. Corruption, nothing is happening. They'll tell you, okay, rule of law, constitutionalism. There is no government in the history of this country whose initiatives have been declared illegal and unconstitutional in the number that this administration has had. Whether they are appointing advisors, illegal. They are appointing cast, illegal. Just go and do an account. No government has had that record. Everything they touch, illegal. This, illegal. That, illegal. So, where is constitutionalism? Where is the rule of law? So, my friends, we have a lot of work to do, but to basically tell the Kenyans the truth, and to ask them that if you truly cared about Raila's legacy, then please, this is not the way to go. This is fraud. This is unacceptable. This is not what Baba wanted. And this is just part of the scheme. Yeah, to confuse Kenyans. And I hope when they'll have an opportunity to read our report, which is here, they will know the truth. Thank you and God bless you.
Another round of applause for the honorable. At this particular stage, we are going to go thematic. We will hear from members of parliament present here, from Governor Orengo and Senator Sosi, and then we will hear from you as well on your assessment of the report that we are going to present here. So, Honorable Babu, let's start with you. You have 5 minutes, then we invite the next speaker.
Thank you very much, SG. God is good. And all the time. Thank you. And about the 10-point agenda that was purportedly released yesterday, I want to say that that was just a mere PR exercise. Everything that was released yesterday was all gibberish. It was all balderdash. It was neither important nor detailed. The detailed parts were not important, and the important parts were not detailed. I want to talk about a few issues that I saw. Issues revolving around the 10-point agenda points to a specific thing: jobs, jobs, jobs. Jobs for the youth, jobs for our women, jobs for our men. This nation, we were promised jobs, that we would get jobs to a tune of around 1 million jobs annually per year. What are we seeing in return? Just PR exercise. With the issue of the jobs, because of lack of jobs, the youth are going on the streets. Because of lack of jobs, our people are suffering. People are opposing this government simply because there are no jobs that we're supposed to give to our youth, men and women in this country. We look at the important things that must be done by this government to create jobs, and they haven't considered any of them. For us to have serious jobs in this nation, we must industrialize. There must be an industrial revolution, industrialization. But the capacity, when we talk about energy as a part of the infrastructure that we have in this nation, the electricity that we produce in this country, the cost is so high. We only produce around 3,800 megawatts that cannot support industrialization in this country. Then the president was telling us that by the year 2040, we should be producing only 2,000 megawatts of electricity by the use of nuclear reactors, nuclear energy. Meanwhile, our neighbor here in Ethiopia, in 2025, launched the Grand Ethiopia Renaissance Dam. That dam alone is producing 5,150 megawatts of electricity. Kenya itself is importing 400 megawatts of electricity from Ethiopia. That dam contains 74 billion cubic meters, the capacity, and was constructed at a cost of only 4.8 billion US dollars. Then we are being told that in the year 2040, we are expecting nuclear energy at a cost of 500 billion Kenya shillings. The cost, the housing that we are doing, affordable housing, per year we are spending 120 billion Kenya shillings. In 5 years, we'll be spending 600 billion Kenya shillings. Meanwhile, affordable housing is a private good, and the role of a government is not to participate in provision of private goods, but to facilitate consumption of merit goods like education and health, and also provide public goods like roads. So you wonder, where is our priority? Where did we go?